What we're trying to do with IMX is really create a holistic asset class that focuses on the healthcare sector. Our proprietary indexes are based off medical data, but we also wanted to branch out into more traditional spaces as well, which is why we really wanted to focus on also having a suite of products that are equity-based indexes and more traditional products.
How do you offer risk management in the healthcare space?
Fundamentally, what we're doing is taking the smallest building block of healthcare data in the space, which is the healthcare claim. And those claims themselves actually come from healthcare providers, and they're used so that providers can get payment for services they offer from healthcare payers. So there are millions of claims generated on a daily basis. Those claims filter through clearinghouses and then ultimately come to our firm through data sales. We partner with those firms to pull in those claims, and then those are also the institutional investors that we anticipate being part of our markets. So on the long side, we have healthcare payers who represent sort of the firms that have exposure to increased costs and the higher number of procedures than anticipated. And then on the other side, on the short side, we have healthcare providers who really represent firms that have larger than anticipated exposures to fewer than expected procedures really occurring in the space. Ultimately, the idea is that right now, the only way for payers and providers to really hedge off any of that risk is to increase their prices, right? So providers increase the cost of services, healthcare payers just increase premiums, increase copay percentages, or they just deny service. And really that's not beneficial to us in any way. So we're looking to really add tools so that they don't just immediately go to cost increases.
What is the plan to offer futures on proprietary claims-based indices?
What we do with the proprietary claims-based indexes are we create indexes that track the frequency of appearance of certain diagnostic codes, procedural codes, or pharmaceutical codes within the cohort of claims on a daily basis. And we either track, again, the frequency or the cost associated with treating those codes. And so what that allows us to do is really on the fly, similar to an equity-based index, we can use the same methodology, but just switch out which codes we're actually looking at. So if we're in a market situation where something like COVID appears, within the space of a week, we'd be able to create a new index that tracks that specific diagnostic code, and that would allow us to more directly hedge that specific risk in the market, as opposed to just trying to hedge around the edges, which is currently the methodology that most firms end up using.
How do you capture the data you need?
All of our data that comes to us is anonymized. It's tokenized at a series of different levels before it even reaches our database. We check for outliers, duplicates, and we curate and we create as large of a database as possible of medical claims. Using that database, we then conduct market research. We do trend analysis. We have AI tools we've created that sit on top of that database as well. We obviously create the indexes. It is the building block that we're using to really create the asset class in the first place.
What are your research capabilities?
The best example that I would have there is if we look at pharmaceutical claims, one of the value adds that we bring to that space is each pharmaceutical code has an associated manufacturer with it. If that manufacturer is a publicly traded company, we also pull in the ticker and CUSIP information as well. And that really allows firms to really get more of an insight into Pfizer itself as a ticker price. Then they can also look at the claims that are associated with Pfizer at the same time and start to come up with trend analysis based off of, is there any tie or correlation between the number of claims that are coming in directly related to Pfizer, and does that directly have a correlation to the stock price that we see with Pfizer or any other pharmaceutical company?